Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Oyewole of AfricaX. I'm here presenting you with another episode of Level Up, and today we'll be speaking with my friend and brother, Oyewole Faseun. Our Wale has been in banking in Canada for probably about a decade now, and he's just going to tell us his story um, as an immigrant jump-starting his career after being through a number of locations before settling in Calgary. And he's going to tell us what exactly leveling up means to him. Now, the essence of this program is just to give you people in the process of restarting their career after taking the immigration step a view and a perspective of how they can go about getting back into the workforce, as well as getting back into the profession that they desire, whether it's the same one that they practiced before or a new one. But our goal is simple: getting you back into the workforce. So without taking any more time, I'd like you to welcome with me Oyewole Faseun. Hi Wale, how are you doing?
I'm good, Dotson. How's it going? Good to see your face. You're looking bright.
Thanks, man. It's good to see you too. It's been a minute. I'm happy that we finally been able to do this. I know we rescheduled this once or twice, but I'm grateful that we finally are able to come to this point. So, Wale, I don't want us to take any, time chit chat, and I just want us to dive right into it. Now, can you tell us a bit about yourself, your backstory, your background, pre-Canada, your work experience, and how you've come to this point that you are now?
Yeah, of course, basically I'm Nigerian, you know that. Got my bachelor's from University of Ibadan in pole science philosophy. And for me, I was there, I was like, I just wanted to leave the country and just go out. And to give you background, I applied for 30 master's programs in Sweden just to get out of Nigeria at the time. I was favored enough to get one admission in applied ethics. So I went to Sweden to do a master's degree in applied ethics. Afterwards, I'd always had that vision and the desire to move to Canada for so many reasons. But anyway, I'll leave all that story for now. And then I was in Sweden, finished my master's in applied ethics, and Canada had not worked out at the time. It took about 3 years, thereabout. Then, I went to do another master's degree in international relations and development studies. I finished from Aalborg University in Denmark. So I had to move to Denmark. And then while I was doing that, waiting to move to Canada, I did an MBA, got an MBA from Blekinge Institute of Tech from Sweden. And I started my fourth master's degree in health and whatever, but it didn't work out because Canada clicked, and then we had to move. So in terms of professional experience, I got a job with a company called Kids Entertainment in Denmark. So I was working as something called like a contract legal assistant, sort of working on contracts for about a year. I did some cleaning on the side to supplement my income. So when I was in Sweden and Denmark, it was that job with Kids Entertainment that was a little bit professional. But I spent more years doing odd jobs, cleaning on the side, just to, pay for my accommodation, take care of family, and then until I came to Canada.
Wow. So Canada came into the picture. How has that been?
Excellent. About the best decision ever. I call it God's own country. I came in 2010, and within a month got a job with a company called Superior Propane as an accounts receivable analyst. It was a contract position from one of these temp agencies. I think it was Randstad.
Oh, okay.
And I did that just for a month. And while I was doing that, I already enrolled with Mount Royal University, lots of education, to do HR. I wasn't sure what I was going to do in Canada. I had all these degrees, and then I was like, okay, maybe HR will pan out. And I was going to Mount Royal University, but as God will have it, I followed a friend to a recruitment event And I had all these companies and um, insurance companies, some people from the government of Alberta. And then I saw this bank, Canadian Western Bank at the time, and I just went to approach them, what's going on? And they said, you have your resume. I had my resume with me. I presented it. I had 3 master's degrees and they wanted to hire for a teller. I said, please, Inyem, bring it. But anyways, they talked to a couple of people there. I didn't believe I was going to be called. But before I knew it, they called me the next day to come for an interview. And that was how I got into banking. So banking was not something I planned for.
Okay.
It wasn't an area that I prepared for. But one thing I can tell you is when I was coming to Canada, I prayed that I needed to start with a company that I can grow with. And that would allow me to rise. So I was open, sort of. So I was like, okay, should I do accounting, HR? So I came into banking by what? I don't know. Happenstance. Providence. Thank you. And it's been excellent. That's all I can say. Excellent.
So there was CW. I know you've changed jobs a number of times. So with each change, it has been a step higher and a step higher and a step higher. So can you tell us about your current adventure?
Current adventure. I just changed jobs about a month ago.
Yeah.
I moved. I was managing a diverse portfolio with CIBC, and a former colleague of mine reached out and said, "Are you interested with this senior role with Relearn?" I was really satisfied with CIBC. It was a good role, well paid. Managing a book of business in excess, I don't know, combined of 80 million. Good clientele, bringing in new clients to the bank. Had good relationship with my superiors. I liked the environment, And then I got this stuff from LinkedIn. Do you want to look into this role? I said, okay, bring it on. Let me see. Oh, senior role. Excellent. I didn't apply. And before I knew it, it just worked out perfectly. The environment, the role. Previously at CIBC, I was doing loans from about 1 million to 10, but now I can do up to 25 million. I mean, larger book, larger exposure. The brand is huge. The title is more. It just works out perfectly. So I don't know what to say. I think I've been able to work my way up.
Yeah.
The right blend of experience, exposure, composure, and the opportunity came. I didn't apply. I didn't have to provide any reference, and things just worked out perfectly.
Wow. Now, I want to ask a question. So you moved from Lagos to Sweden, to Denmark, then to Canada. What has been the impact of immigration on your career?
That's a very tricky question to be. So the impact for me, basically, it's helped me a lot, though.
Okay.
Exposure. It's exposed me to so many things, different cultures. They talk about quality of education too. Having to learn in Sweden and then moving to Denmark. So if I'll say immigration really is just having that exposure to different culture, different work environments, even educational systems. And I'll tell you, a lot of things that do not fit our work environment has been or have been shaved off over time. How you relate with people in this part of the world, how you communicate.
Basically, the first name basis communication, the ability to interact, the coffee, the water, the coffee
networking, even tone. When you're communicating, the right tone, the right blend of what to say, what to discuss at work, understanding the people. You don't just come with your own worldview, and is finding how to make the most of the environment you're in. So I'll say going from nation to nation helped me to shave off a lot of the unnecessaries, and to learn how to put myself in a position to be successful. That it goes beyond technical ability, because you can do all the numbers, you can do all your calculations, you can understand how best to take care of the client. But even your colleagues are clients.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, in a way, I'll say immigration, in the sense of going from Nigeria to Sweden to Denmark and then Canada, has helped me to unlearn a lot of things and to learn the right blend of things that will make me successful within a corporate environment.
Now, quick digression. Let's just go back to your education. So you started 4 master's degrees. You completed 3. Did you have to learn Swedish or Danish through the educational process, or you studied in English, but it was just the
I
fact
studied
that
in
you
English.
Okay, so studies were
I
in
studied in
English.
English. Yeah.
Okay, but you had to, because of the environment, pick up some Swedish here and pick up some Danish here and all that.
A little bit. I tell you, my wife went to language school in Denmark, and I was like laser focused. I wanted to go to Canada. That was my end point. And I didn't see any sense really taking time learning all this language, and then I wouldn't use it. And even it was like French or Spanish, which is a little bit more global. But I said, how many people speak Danish or Swedish in the world? I don't know. I was just looking out to hopefully get to Canada, and it's worked out. So
fantastic. Well, I'm waiting for when you tell me the story of your first Danish client in Canada. We'll see how that pans out for you if you can't speak a word of Danish.
I have had it. So when I was at Canadian Western Bank, I had one of our clients was a Danish guy who ran a business in here. So I knew how to greet, or I still know how to greet, and when he got to know that, I studied in Denmark, I greeted him in the little way I could. The guy was really excited. He was like, wow, this is
that's a wide open door that nobody else can open when you do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice. Okay, that's good. So basically what you're saying is, for you, immigration has created an up trajectory for you as far as your career is concerned.
Exactly.
Fantastic. So moving on, I want to ask, the name of the show is Level Up. Now, as far as your career is concerned, what does leveling up mean to you?
It means growth. It means getting better.
Okay.
It means maximizing your potential. It's knowing you're starting here and then trying to find the ways, walking around the edges, learning the nutrients and the modules that you can put together to be better, and learning how to succeed in a different environment. Getting outside of yourself to learn what you need to do in a new society to be better, and learning the opportunities around you and finding ways to make it work. I'll give you an example, little one. 2010, when they called me for that interview, I was extremely grateful. I am not more grateful today as a senior commercial guy than when I got that role as a teller. And I worked myself to heaven. I give my best. It never occurred to me that I was way more educated than the person I met. There was somebody who was in Naro for 12 years, and they were really grateful for that opportunity. I knew I was going to go towards a different trajectory, but that the seed in 2010, I knew it was going to bud and grow. So part of that leveling up basically was, give me a leg in. I will commit my life and my time, my skill set to make it work.
Wow. Okay. So you said ingredients, like we are making a pot of soup. So exactly. What are the ingredients that got you to this place that you are now, bearing in mind where you started from in 2010?
So a couple of things. One, I'll say humility.
Okay.
So because if you are hired as a teller and you're thinking, oh, I have master's degrees from one top university, Harvard, how can someone who didn't go to college, how can I be earning the same? For me, that's not the right attitude. For me, the right attitude was somebody gave me a leg in, an opportunity, and I committed to the work. And it will show in your attitude, your reaction to your colleagues. I'll tell you, 6 months after I joined the bank, somebody, an AVP, assistant vice president, came to me and said, we like you. Do you want to consider this role? And we know you have a lot of education. Why? They come in the morning, they're coming through the door. I'm smiling at this guy called Paul. How are you? How is it going? He's going for lunch. Because I was in front, I was a teller. I was sweet to the senior ones. I was sweet to the people who weren't that educated. And I was focused on the job. Learning the granules of when you miss 25 cents. And it's not like, how can this one be telling me to do this job? No. I'm grateful. I'm right there grateful. So the job in front of me, I did it with all my heart, grateful for that door. I wasn't running for the next thing. It's good, don't get me wrong. But while you are in that door, give it your all. Stop thinking, oh, I got a master's degree from Harvard. I know more than all these guys in the office. You can know certain technical things than they do. But there are certain things that you'll never know like they do know.
Well, you don't know who's getting promoted and who's not, and they do know.
Exactly. So because ask me, what's technical things beyond you counting the money, talking to people, if they need something beyond just transferring funds and stuff, let them know, okay, there's a financial advisor, there's a commercial guy that can help you. What would have moved me from a teller right there into equipment financing credit analyst? And by the way, I didn't even have any banking experience before that. I had lots of education. So I can say first, dose of attitude and commitment in hard work. And it paid out.
Okay. So you think you mentioned one thing, but I think I've heard like 5. So I'm going to count them. First, you mentioned humility. Then you mentioned gratitude. Then you mentioned being conscientious and committed to the work that is in front of you. You also pointed out the fact that you need to have a goal in front of you. So you're not jaded and lost where you are. You remain committed to your long-term goal while focusing on what is in front of you. And of course, you treated the people around you well. So your bosses were happy, your colleagues were happy, the security man was happy, because you try to at least maintain a good reputation, or you try to treat everybody well, such that they felt good around you, that kind of thing. So those sound like very credible and important things to me, and I've heard a number of people mention some of those things.
Yeah.
Now, how has, because you spoke about leaving Nigeria, wanting to come to Canada, and then detouring to Sweden and Denmark. That's number 1. Number 2, you mentioned, when you were taking the CWB job, about how you are just waiting to get a foot in the door. Now, when somebody says they are getting a foot in the door, they're not saying it like they have gotten to their El Dorado. They are saying it like, just give me one chance.
Opportunity.
And I'll show you what I can do. So, clearly you had a picture. Now, how has having a picture influenced you generally, whether it's life or career?
Yeah, you're right. So, like I said, I didn't determine I was going to go into banking. I just needed that foot in the door. So when I got into that role, then I started to research to understand what are the different areas in banking. What fits, what does not fit, what are the opportunities. I'll say at that time I was still limited, but I had an idea of certain things. But then when they called me up to see if I wanted that credit analyst role, things blew up from there. My mind started to grow. I started to think beyond. I went from retail to commercial equipment financing, and then I started to think beyond even commercial, corporate banking, investment banking. There were limitations, age and stuff, but then my mind started to expand. I started to believe, and I started to work my way. What do I need to do? So that there was my long-term view started to to come together within banking at that time.
Yeah, yeah. So clearly, you didn't necessarily go into your first job with a picture of where you are today in mind, but you researched, and then when the picture became clear, you began to pursue.
To work my way through. So, and I'll tell you one of the ways. So I knew I could jump ship from my credit analyst role, but another thing I knew was I needed to build solid experience. I stayed back 4 years. So I grew from being a credit analyst to senior credit analyst, and to a point where I was really confident that take me to anywhere, Joburg, Austria, Thailand, Singapore, Japan, within this space of banking, commercial banking, credit analysis, I knew I was confident enough to take up the next level. And that's when I started to seek out. But I had to hunker down, learn the fundamentals, build capacity, and be very good at what I was doing. Knowing that if I moved today, it was just going to go way, way more faster. So I wasn't going to move because I had education, because I had the right attitude, because I knew how to connect with people. I was going to move because I had the right blend of these things. Technical capacity, the right experience. I had built that. And then I started looking out.
Okay. And I like that because clearly the soft skills are great, but the soft skills are only relevant when you have overcome and gone beyond the presumption of technical competence. So while technical competence is still a thing, you take your time to build it, and then you get to the point where technical competence is taken for granted and it no longer matters. And it's your ability to connect with people, build relationships, and build competence and capacity around the softer skills that takes you up to the next level. Now, I'm going to ask a question that I ask all of my guests on this show. Can you share with us one thing that, kind of took you aback about the Canadian work environment? Just one.
Okay, one of the things, a couple, but this one that stands out. When I had my second child, in 2013, and even some of the people around couldn't even say congratulations. It's strange, within my culture, people will come around you. Some people did. Don't get me wrong. My boss, a few, but there were some other people around that. I was like, why can't these guys just be happy and all that? I couldn't tell why. It was just strange. In relation to that, it's the same set of people. Sometimes they'll see in the morning, they can't even say good morning or hello. So maybe some of them I wouldn't know why, but it could be personality, and it could be maybe they're having tough times from home. But from where I come from, it's more like an average person will say hello, hi. When you have a major event in your life, they will show up and celebrate. But I had a few people at the time that weren't into that. For them, it's more like I've come to face my job, and they don't have time for small talks and stuff. So it was a little bit, I wouldn't use the word unsettling, but surprising. Yeah.
So have you come to accept that there are people that is their own worldview, and it doesn't unsettle you anymore?
No, I have come to realize that. I've had a couple of colleagues like that over the years that they're not just into those kind of things. They can walk past you and not say hi or say hello. And then if you guys now have a project to do together, they'll bring it on. So.
Wow. Okay.
I'm used to that.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard that. I've heard that said. I've experienced that a number of times where, people, there's no issue, there's no problem. They don't have any problem with you, but they just kind of just refuse to. They just don't acknowledge. You know, you walk into the office, or they walk into the office and they just walk past you like nothing happened, and then you meet at the coffee, the water cooler, a few hours later, and they're chatting like nothing happened, and they're fine and they're comfortable. And like, okay, that's your worldview. That's how you see things. And there are some other people that they see you, they acknowledge you. They when they want to chat, they chat, and it's just a different dynamic. Whereas I can remember my days in Nigeria. I walk into the office back then at Mario Kola, and I say hello to everybody in my unit, whether they're listening or not, and I get responses. So it's just a cultural difference, right? And I guess those are the nuances that we need to learn and get used to, because it's just the environment. The environment is different, and we can't impose our worldview on the people in the environment. We can learn theirs and share ours, and everybody will coexist within the different worldviews. So, from an advisory perspective, right now, with the lockdowns starting to loosen up, there are definitely a bunch of people who are watching this show who are either about to get on the plane, moving to Calgary, Canada, Toronto, leaving Nigeria, leaving one location to go to another. Or there are people who have arrived in the course of the pandemic and they're just trying to get their careers back, get a job, or get the job they've always wanted, or they are in the job they've always wanted and they're looking to take their career to the next level. As somebody who's been there, done that, 11 years in Canada now, what would you be your advice to them? What would you be telling them if they were me listening to you?
Basically, I just tell them to keep a positive posture, and they would always find the vision will work out. Surround yourself with very positive minded people. Your network matters.
Your network matters. Okay. Yeah.
You need to do that. In my case, people around me get jobs all the time. So the news that Alberta is this, Alberta is that, that's not what I'm experiencing. Even in COVID, people are getting good jobs. Lawyers, good positions. And there are endless opportunities. And you're not limited in Canada from the east to the west. You have about how many provinces? Loads of opportunities.
Provinces and territories.
So the other thing basically is, if it's not working somewhere, be ready to move, be adaptive. At the time, I had to leave Calgary to go to Saskatchewan. I want to get.
Oh yeah, that's true. I remember that.
Yeah. At some point, I had to leave my family, my kids, my wife. I had to go to Saskatchewan for a year and a half. I was in corporate banking with the HSBC, and for some reasons, I had to leave, and I moved up to Saskatchewan. So that was a detour, but I'm back. So I think the bottom line basically is be positive, find the right kind of people, that you walk with, and just keep pushing. Things will work out. I never believe the data or the statistics that things are down, and if it's down here, move. Be ready. There are endless opportunities in this nation called Canada. It's just too much. It's a blessing to be here and now.
Wow. Now that's an amazing perspective. Yeah, with particularly in Calgary, with the oil price drop of 2014, from which the city hasn't ever really recovered, then to the green revolution that led to termination of pipeline project after pipeline project, and the most recent one being the termination of the Keystone XL pipeline by the Biden administration. It's easy to take the mindset and perspective that Alberta is dead, oil is dead, and Calgary is going to be a ghost of itself. But Personally, I know that I see people start businesses every day. There's a lot of work going on in the technology space. People are taking up opportunities in business analysis and project management, and things are happening. So I agree with you that anybody who's considering coming to Canada should come with a positive attitude. You mentioned something else briefly about there. Surround yourself with positive people. More than one person on this show has said that your network is your net worth. Don't get bogged down. Don't hang out with people who want to make you feel worse than you already feel alone by yourself.
Yeah.
Find people who will help you feel better. Find people who will help you see the silver lining. Find people who will help you see the opportunities that exist around us. Because the fact is, in the midst of the pandemic, several billionaires doubled their wealth. Many people have changed their lives and changed positions, and they continue to earn better. So, Wally, I want to thank you definitely for the points that you've highlighted this evening, things that you brought to my attention, the things that you've reminded us about, the place of gratitude, the place of your positive mindset, the place of your network, the place of being present where you are, even though you know that there's more ahead and you're actually pursuing for more. Those are all critical components that will help us to make our immigration journey successful. I want to thank you especially for, one, choosing to spend this time with me, choosing to share your wealth of knowledge with us and to speak from your heart in a manner that will allow people watching to learn and to benefit so that they can grow. Thank you very much. And as things go on and the years go by, I trust and believe that whenever we reach out to you from AfricaX to say, hey, could you come share with us from your wealth of experience, I trust that you will always respond positively to our call. Thank you once again for coming.
Pleasure. Good
Great.
job, Dotun. Thank you.
Yeah. And with that, viewers, I want to say thank you for spending the time with us, watching this episode. And we look forward to bringing to your viewing pleasure bigger and better editions, which will help us to just see that immigration may be a challenging journey, but with every risk, there is a reward. And with every move that we make, there is profiting that is coming our way. With that, I'll say bye for now. Thanks and bye.